quickly have to ask you about the Hunger Games prequel. I am so excited for you.
Thank you.
What does it look like? How has it been to shoot? Did you talk to Jennifer Lawrence at all?
I have not talked to Jennifer Lawrence, but if she wants to call me, we can hang out anytime. We're both Dior girlies. We both live in New York. Like, let's get together. I'm obsessed with her. I love her so much.
I feel like you guys would be.
I feel like we'd be really, really good friends.
Now, most people, many people, kind of understand that Rachel Zegler might be the least likable fake Hollywood star in history. A lot of people didn't like Brie Larson early on based on some interviews she did where she had indicated that she doesn't care about what a 40-year-old white guy has to say about her movie. But Rachel Zegler is far more unlikable. She has 2 movies under her belt. The first being West Side Story, which lost $200+ million. The second movie she has is the Snow White, which was soundly rejected by fans. She was absolutely crushed after giving some extremely entitled interviews. And the third movie she did, which is actually coming out this weekend, I know you probably don't know that because nobody cares about the Hunger Games anymore. There is a Hunger Games prequel. A prequel for Hunger Games. And it has set an all-time record for the Hunger Games. You might be surprised to know. What is that record? Well, it is in fact the worst rated Hunger Games movie in history. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 5 total Hunger Games movies, and hers is dead last. Now, the critic scores actually aren't that bad. We're going to take a look at some of it. 67% isn't like anything to sneeze at. But if you also look, the Hunger Games original had an 81% audience score, then an 89, then it dropped to 71, 66, and presumably this film will continue that trend and have an even lower. So every movie has essentially dropped with the critic scores, and now the audience score is also dropping. The Hunger Games and the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes Rotten Tomato score is here, and it sets an undesirable new record for the franchise. Directed by franchise veteran Francis Lawrence, who has helmed every Hunger Games movie so far, the upcoming film follows a young don't care and his relationship with Rachel Zegler during the 10th iteration of the games. Now, ahead of the Hunger Games: The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes release date, Rotten Tomatoes has unveiled the film's critic score to be a 67% at the time of this writing. With only 46 reviews, this score is likely to fluctuate, but at the moment, it's the lowest rated movie in the franchise, falling short of The Hunger Games: Mockingjay Part 1 and The Hunger Games: Mockingjay Part 2 over time. And it since then has dropped now to 66. I truly suspect that it will continue to drop. That it will continue to get worse and worse and worse. 50 reviews is not very many. If you look at the Marvels, for example, I think it's in the several hundreds by now. And that score generally, it's about to go rotten. It's at a 61. It's only 2 percentage points away from going rotten. That could be pretty spicy. The Marvels with 290 reviews is at a 61, just teetering on going rotten. And, coincidentally, I'm sure these things are completely unrelated. Only 1,000 quote unquote verified reviews. This is one of the scummy things Rotten Tomatoes does. I'll show you. If you actually click on the score, they only let through 1,000 quote unquote verified reviews, which generally means that these are probably like hand-picked. If you go to all audience, it drops all the way down to a 72. If you look at all critics, it's at a 61. But if you look at top critics, it drops all the way down to a 43%. certified rotten by a significant margin. Now, if we look at this, if we look at top critics, again, top critics give this a 42%. So I think it's safe to say that, this movie is very poor. And we also saw that expose that came out this past summer where film companies were essentially stuffing the Rotten Tomato reviews, even though, they were out there calling all of us trolls and misogynists and bots and things of that nature just for not liking the films, right? Just for not liking them. They were calling us all sorts of heinous things. They apparently were stuffing the ballots themselves too. 8 Reasons Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes reviews are so mixed. Even the Hollywood Reporter, which is a shill agency for Hollywood, put out the Hunger Games Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes review. Jennifer Lawrence is sorely missed in dour prequel, short on excitement. Now, this is a movie that has a roughly $100 million budget. Now, we know that Hollywood is rolling back their budgets because people just, quite frankly, are not going out and seeing movies as often. They're just not. And if you look at Box Office Pro, this is their long-range box office forecast for the movie. It might actually be okay. It still kind of depends. They have a 3-day opening range right now between 38 and 50 million. If it's in the middle, and it has a, $42-43 million opening, they are predicting a domestic total of just 97 million to 157 million. So you end up with a situation where if the budget's 100 million, the marketing's another 100 million, the movie needs to make 300 to 400 million at the box office to break even. It's not an impossible number. It's actually not an impossible number. If you look at a lot of these films, hey, Silent Night, I think that's supposed to be pretty good, isn't it? Isn't that that was like an action film? Maybe I'm wrong about that. But I mean, this movie also has no competition, right? It comes out this week, Thursday. It's not competing against the Marvels, right? Nobody's going to see the Marvels. This is what we have in Hollywood right now. Kathleen Kennedy's Put a Chick in It and Make a Gay and Lame. We have the Marvels, 4 women stars. We have the Hunger Games, Rachel Zegler. Now, Rachel Zegler is being sold to us as the star of the movie, but it's actually not her. It's Snow. He's the actual star of the movie, but this is how they want to market it because Hollywood thinks everybody wants, a strong independent woman who don't need no man. Well, I would predict that the movie will make in the low 40 millions and its domestic total will be in the low 100 to 120 million, meaning that, if I don't know what the rule of thumb is for, including the global box office, but you're going to have, let's say 300 million total. I would say they're probably, again, remember, if 300 million at the box office, that means 150 million goes back to the film company, goes back to Lionsgate, and 150 million stays with the actual, makers of the film. I'm sorry, the expos, the AMC theaters, Marcus theaters, they keep half. So if it makes 300 million at the box office, that means they keep 150 million. They have a $100 million budget, another 100 million set aside for marketing. I guess if they trim the marketing budget and they only spend 50, 60 million, they might break even. They might break even if they get to 300 million in the global box office, which I don't think it will. I think this score will continue to go down. It's at 60. It snuck back up to 67. If that's in the low 60s, again, with top critics, it's overwhelmingly, bad in a surprising and unique way. It had a few laughs, some stylish outfits, but this is unfortunately a shallow prequel, one which fails to breathe new life into the Hunger Games franchise. Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes squanders a potentially rich premise. The rote affair would deserve the designation of for fans only, if at best. All elements that made the Hunger Games a success are there. Dark political metaphors, horrifying dystopian premise, beautiful actors to make the whole bitter pill easier to swallow. But Songbirds and Snakes feels simply like a rehash. It's just a cash in. They just want to, make their money. They don't want to produce anything new. They don't want to go out there and give anybody anything new to be excited about. And we've shown as viewers, as customers, that we will go support something new. Like we get it. We will go see Oppenheimer. We'll go see Barbie. We'll go see Five Nights at Freddy's. We'll go see the Top Gun Maverick, which was a sequel, to be honest with you. But it was good. It was actually a good movie. So it's going to be, record low reviews, probably not going to do well. The movie comes out in just 3 days. So this Friday, we'll have to see. But I mean, Hollywood gets these weird obsessions with like a small group of actors and actresses, and they're going to ride them into the ground. I'm fine with that. I personally have, even if I were interested in the Hunger Games movie, I'm not going to give my money to support Rachel Zegler. And I think there are a lot of people who would agree with that. There's a lot of people that do that. And we're going to see probably another box office complete failure. We'll have to see as it gets closer to Friday. But I'm here definitely to track and highlight the downfall of yet another woke weirdo from Hollywood in Rachel Zegler. Can't wait to see how much money they lose on Snow White, too. That movie has $330 million already sunk into its budget. That movie has to make $1 billion. They have to make $1 billion on Snow White, and everybody hates the main character already. I suspect that Rachel Zegler will stop getting put in movies relatively soon, but I suppose we'll have to wait and see.